oh man, we need a $5,000 a month building, so we got to up our prices 30%, so we can afford all this stuff. Like, we're slowly going to work ourselves into that where the customers isn't going to feel that burden. It's going to be, we're going to save for it to get there, so.
And a lot of people say, I mean, we get a lot of hate on this, like, oh, then you're just pocketing the extra money. So it goes, but the truth is David lives in a small condo. I live in a small family home. Everything translates to the customer for us. That was a big part of why we started this company, was translating that difference to our customers at the end of the day. I'm Brad. I'm from Dino Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical, and I'm here with David, and we're going to talk a little bit about our business, the history, where we've been, where we're going, and what our plans are for in the community, Utah, and the general area. But David, tell us a little bit about Dino.
Well, Dino Plumbing is it's Dino Pro Services. It's plumbing, HVAC, and electrical. A little bit about ourselves is we just come from we're a mix of a lot of people. We come from a bigger company that turned corporate, and it went from a great mom and pop shop, and we really just want to bring that back, that feel back to the plumbing trade, to the trades in general. So really, that's just what we're striving for at the end of the day, is to be that more mom and pop shop vibe, I guess you could say, right? That's what we're shooting for. So we want people to really be able to connect with us and be comfortable with the plumbers or the trades coming to their house, where back in the day, we used to feel like, my mom, dad, most likely your mom and dad, grandparents, so forth. They always like, oh yeah, I got David's my plumber, or I got Dan the plumber. Like, I
got a guy.
Yeah, they're on speed dial. Let me hit him up. So it was really fast and easy. They had somebody. Nowadays, we're kind of running into where it's a bidding war. Everyone's just like, who can I find that's the cheapest? And we just really want to touch base with going back to, hey, let us be your go-to for everything. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, community focus. I think the one thing I noticed when we worked for our old company was it became, each customer was a number. There wasn't anything personable about it. You go in, you jot down your notes, you give them a quote, you try to sell them on whatever you can, and you leave. And there's no thought to who these people are, what they have going on, and what's coming next.
Yeah, a lot of scare tactic. You see that a lot in the trades now. Is we do a lot of service. We also, obviously, we're doing new construction. But with a lot of service, you get into this, the sell tactic of things, right? They're pushing heavy on, let's try to get the most out of these people. And it's like I said, I ran for a little bit there. I was just doing the plumbing, and then I went into the sales side, and then ran some teams, right? And you were there for that. You got to witness that, So a lot of it was like, let's go in there and slaughter the cow, which was insane to me. Where I'm like, no, like let's treat our customers right. Like, you're seeing a lot of car salesmen nowadays in the trades, in the news, in the service, and I've never been a fan of it. I've always done well connecting with people. Like, that's what I love to do. That's why I love my job. Where it's like, personally, me, I've been in the trade since I was 13, full time since I was 16. So being able, and that was new construction, right? Framing, concrete, bricklaying, and cabinet building, so forth. Worked in the refinery for a little bit. I've done a little bit too much, but coming over here, it's being able to deal with people. New construction, you're stuck in, one place until your job's finished, and you're on to the next. You're not really getting to deal with the customers anymore. So coming into a service trade, it's really hands-on with the customer. The company you work for gets to answer the calls for you. They get to do all the marketing and all the business side of things, but you really are a company within a company. They do all the footwork, and you just show up and try to make things happen. But like I was saying, on like my old managers and so forth, were always like, slaughter slaughter the cow, pull everything you possibly can out of them. And for me, I just never agreed with it because I'm like, I could go in, make connections with people, become family and friends with them, right? And take care of them and give them what's necessary to fix that day, like, hey, these are top priority. Here, you should be able to fix this in the next year or two, and so forth, So it's more about just taking care of the customers, making sure that their needs are taken care of and not overdoing it, right?
Yeah. I think one of the things that sticks out that you talked about is the teamwork, past teams you built. And a lot of people don't know this, but David and his past teams have probably repiped more homes in Southern Utah than any other team combined. And that was one of the cool things that we built at our previous company was the team, the camaraderie, everything that kind of went into it, the things we did after, and then how that translated into the field. And then we turned corporate, and that was kind of all cut back. And we went through this little period where we had to button our shirts up and be proper for everybody. But really, at the end of the day, it's just the people that work there are your neighbors in the community. Even though they go out and represent something different, they're still your neighbors. And when we left, I think the most apparent thing I noticed when we left was we had a lot of people leave with us because that feel went away, which has been great. I mean, they're out doing their own thing. They're still successful in the trade. They're still working for other shops, and they're growing in those shops.
Yeah.
But I think the cool thing is since leaving, we've all still remained connected and continue to grow, and we support each other out there.
We're always getting tacos still.
Yeah.
Gotta go get those tacos.
On top of that, though, like we talk about community, customer first, customer focused, how each individual isn't the same. Walking into each house isn't the same. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, really. So, every house is different, right? That's the one thing with service is no house is the same, right? And with service, most service companies, you talk with the business owners here, and really nationwide. I've touched, with companies in different states, and everyone's a flat rate for service. So it's a little bit different. So training your techs, the plumbers and the HVACs and all the trades coming up when you have a flat rate system is going into a house and knowing like for that, like every house is going to be different because, okay, you could go in, right? For us, you go in and we have a base water heater price. Like, okay, if it's going to be super easy, it's this cost, but you have to know like every house is different. Maybe their supply lines that feed the water heater are in great condition. Maybe everything else is great condition, but for some odd reason, they got a lemon and the water heater bursted within that first year, so we're not, you as a plumber, you should be able to walk into that and be like, well, can I take all this money from them? Sure. I could still charge them a normal rate, right? Like, oh, I'm going to do all this and still charge you top dollar for it. Where me, if I'm going to walk in, I'm like, well, we don't have to change all of this stuff. It's already there. You're in good condition. Let me just replace the water heater itself, just the tank, and we're going to cut you a pretty good deal. And it goes also for the opposite. Maybe it's a lot worse. Maybe you're cutting drywall, replacing water lines because it's more shot than the homeowner thought, but you as the plumber should be able to walk into a situation and know how to deal with certain, different customers, because you're going to run into customers that, like I said, nowadays people see the trades and the service trades as all these are car salesmen, right? So you're walking in and they're like, oh, this guy's going to charge me an arm and a leg to get this done. And they're very standoffish with you. So you're going to deal with customers like that where they just give me the base price, just give me the cost and, do the job, get out of here. So, and then you're going to run into people that are very like, hey, I need, like, we went to the job. We did that water heater for Sarah. Remember? Mm-hmm. She's like, hey, I make these dog toys, and we became great friends with her. Like we're trying to plan a golf day with her. Yeah. So it's like, you just run into different type of people in the field, and you just got to know how to navigate it, and stick to who you are as a person. I mean, that's the biggest thing for us at Dino is, we're really trying to, even though we're growing fairly quick, and there's great reason for it, right? People love our team that we have so far, and we just keep getting calls and people wanting to use us because people in the community are feeling that difference that we're throwing out there, right? But also with it, why we're in that little, like we're stuck of like, we don't want to grow too fast because we want to bring up the right team. We want to have the right people. Like, you know, we get a lot of calls of people wanting to come work for us, but it's like, are they the right fit for what me, you, and Michael are trying to preach, right? Of taking care of the customer. Cause you're going to get guys that are like, yeah, I'll do all that. Da, 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 da. And then they're just like going to house scare tactic. And then we hear the repercussions of it. Like, your guy came in and said, if I don't take care of this, he's going to blow up my house, you know, like, or it's going to flood and my grandma's going to die from it. And like, no, that's not how it goes. You know, we want our guys, the team coming up, to be a slow process to, even if they've been a plumber for, you know, 30 years, still go through our training process of writing with the techs that we have and learning our process. So it's like, if this is the right fit for you, you feel like you could get on board with our standards and what we're trying to preach, then we'll have you on, right? But we want everyone to get the feel of like, if me and you were in the field taking care of every single job, we want our guys to be a representation of who Dino is as a company. So yeah,
it's essentially a representation of us.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, which is crazy because St. George is a different place in a lot of sense. Like when I came here 12 years ago, it was a very specific retirement town where people golfed and people were just here to kind of live out their days and enjoy it as much as they possibly could. And now there's young families, a ton of people moving in from California and a whole bunch of other states. And so it's kind of changed that landscape. But I think one of the most apparent things for me when we started this was there was a few instances with my grandma specifically and some of her friends where they got that treatment of, okay, she's elderly, let's take as much as we can from them. And she's had that happen a couple of times. And that absolutely destroys me as a person, but as a business owner too. I mean, there's a whole ethics line that's played in the trades. And really, I think that ethics line should be drawn at they're human, we're human, they're people too. Yeah. And putting focus on that individual. But St. George it's a different place.
It is different. But like you say, it's community driven, right? I mean, all of St. George is everyone's involved, right? That's the biggest thing, is everyone's involved with everything here. It's still, even with everyone that's moving in, we're still a very small town in the sense of like, you do one person's house, right? You work on their house. There's like 50 other people that they know that are just in the neighborhood. So you're always running into family, right? And majority of them are family. So it is different. And that's what, I mean, you go to a place like Los Angeles, you do a job, and then you probably won't run into their family member or someone that knows them for quite some time, you know, because it's so big. But like here, it's like you say, it's like most of these people they're retired, you know, they're fixed income. Obviously, like we see where the economy's going and how crazy things are getting here, even in little old St. George. Like, you know, I've lived in the townhome for the last 5 years. I got 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a wife. Like, we're just squeezed in because even as a plumber, like it's hard to go get a single family home here. Cause like, mainly for us, you know, it's like, we're trying to be a business and make money, right? Obviously we're in business to make money. That's the end goal. But also at the end of the day, we want to treat people right. We want to be able to see them in the store and be like, oh, hey, how you doing, Sarah? You know, how you doing, John? Like, John, like, you know, we did that water heater for you, but be at a fair cost, you know, and people still respect us because they got great service. They got, you know, a technician that cared about their house and took care of them, that they're just not in there ripping them off. So they feel good about what they got for the price, right? So we're not the highest. We're not the lowest. We're right in that middle where we're like, well, we know our quality is top notch, right? We're bringing you the best service possible, but also you're getting that for a middle cost instead of a high cost. Cause like that's the thing we saw, right? We worked for a big company, and you start seeing that quality shift, but the people are getting charged the same amount of money. So it's like, you got companies out here that are charging $6,000 for a water heater. And maybe, I don't know, we don't charge that, but maybe there's someone that is just doing the top of the line water heater. I don't know. But if you got a master plumber, right, that's done this for 50 years and he charges you that, maybe, just maybe you feel okay as a homeowner, like, well, I guess he knows what he's doing. But at those companies, you're still going to get a guy that's a first year, just barely started to trade, that's going to charge you the same amount of money. And it's just like there's a fine line on like where that doesn't make sense, right? Where that just here you're starting to see a lot of people get taken advantage of, and we're trying to bring back not doing that. But I don't know. It's crazy here.
It's like we're talking about the dollar coffee versus like the feel of coffee, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you get what you pay for in a sense, but sometimes that doesn't make sense for everybody. They just want to be treated fairly, have their house treated right.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing for us is we still go in and we do things by the book. We do it very properly so that at the end of the day, it's a fair price, but they still get that high end service. So
yeah. And I mean, with that too, it's like, we're not cutting corners, it's like you run into it a lot where it's like, oh, dude, we just got a call the other day, right? That sump pump call. You remember that sump pump call? They called us in. We're like, hey, we're moving out. We're closing on this house, right? And he's like, I got a sewer pump in my basement, and I close on this house today. But he's the seller, and he's like, I just need to get it fixed because it burned out. But I had a different company come out and say they want $2,500, and he's like, for a sump pump. So I'm like, well, like, is it for like your sewage? Like your toilets go to this too? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, it's got to be a grinder pump. He's like, I know, but I don't want a grinder pump. He's like, I just want bottom of the barrel. Like, get me a sump pump. It just needs to be able to sail because I put in the paperwork that I took care of it. And I was like, well, it needs to be a grinder pump to get rid of all of that stuff. Like you really like, we have to do a grinder pump. And in your specific case, like that's what needs to happen. And he's like, you can't just do a sump pump, like, and just sign me off, get it done so I could sell this. I said, we're not the right people for you, man. Like, I am not cutting corners. Like, for one, that's cutting corners for you, but also all I did was set up the next person that owns that house in a bad situation already. So like me, I'm just not going to do it for you, So you run into that a lot where some people are like, well, it's $800. Like, we could go get this today, and like, let's just do it. Who cares? We don't know the next people coming in. Or for me, I'm like, I'm not going to do that because it's one bad thing for someone to just go around and be like, oh, these guys, set us up for failure, flooded our house, and they were the last guys to touch it, and they put something in improper, right? So, like, for us, we're not cutting corners. Like, you're going to get top quality and a team that's not cutting corners. So, I mean, that's what we're shooting for at the end of the day, right? Where we want to do everything proper, up to code, and charge the right prices for it, and not leave you or the next person set up for any disasters. We're starting to see a lot of people, and like, especially in Utah, right, where you're getting a lot more handymen. And this is not shade to like that trade. You know?
We love handymen.
Yeah, like they help us out, in many ways. Like we repipes homes, so it's like they come in, like they'll help us with drywall. Or we need something framed, like they'll come and do those little jobs. But like the trades in the state of Utah, like they're really not allowed to do a lot of things. It's really touchy if you look up like what Utah allows for handymen to do, right? Like they could
especially in plumbing.
Yeah, plumbing, electrical, like things like we've gone to school for, right? Like we've spent years in school trying to get this license and our degrees or however, but you're seeing, like I say, it's not shade to them, but you're seeing them do jobs really they're not supposed to be doing. Like they're running water mains, they're repiping homes, and like you're seeing these shark bite fittings like behind closed walls. You're seeing shut off valves that are getting buried in walls, and it's like they're cutting corners. And sure, the person got a great deal, but is it proper? Is it up to code? But so also what we're running into is people just don't care anymore. They're just like, get it in for the cheapest. But your home is your biggest investment, right? That's one of the biggest investments you'll make in life. So if you're cutting corners in your house, like you're going to run into situations where you're going to regret that, and it's going to cost you double from getting the job done right, restoration, or whatever it may be. Like if it's a flood, now you're dealing with, thousands of dollars of mitigation process just to fix this place just because you cut a corner. I don't know. It's different. Like I say, like we don't want to be held for that. I'd rather tell someone we're not the right fit for you, instead of cutting corners to get a job done for a dollar. Money is not everything at the end of the day. So good customer services.
Yeah. And especially on these investments, I think that one of the biggest things about our company when we go into a home is we treat their home like it's our home. Like if I'm going to go into your home, I'm going to act the same way I do and take care of my place, just like we pass on to our techs and everybody else. And I think we haven't talked about Michael much, but I think that's kind of one of the cool things about Michael, the other business partner.
Dino Mike.
You see him around. He loves that. But not only is he one of the most friendly people you'll ever meet, he truly cares about you and the service you get at the end of the day.
Yep. Don't let me do all the talking, man.
You're crushing
jump in here. No, man, but Mike, man, that guy is awesome. He's also, I mean, he's not here today. He will be here at some point. You know, he's a busy man, but he's an awesome guy. Honestly, he's a guy that, hey, if he could work for free, that man would work for free.
He would work for free.
100%. Like,
he's been around longer than Google.
Yes, yeah, he loves that. I've been plumbing longer than Google. You know?
Which is a guy that probably should charge more for what he does, but he doesn't see it that way. It's taking care of the customers.
And he's very like that, which is awesome because he has a good heart. Like for him especially, like money is not everything for that man. But he does great work. He's very knowledgeable and he's got a lot of dad jokes. You know, his dad jokes are top notch. But he's a funny dude. But no, he's a great business partner to have, and a mentor as well, you know, so he's someone
leader.
Yeah. Someone to look up to in the trades, you know, like I said, he jokes a lot, but I think that's what people forget. We're in the trades. Like we joke too much.
Part of the job. Yeah. Part of the job.
Part of the job. That's what we signed up for.
We're playing in poop all day. It's got to be fun at some point.
I think so. I hope so. That part's not, but it does, you know, and that dude, he makes the best of it. You know, I know this last week or like for a long time, but these last 2 weeks have been like go for the company. You know, we've been just pushing out jobs, just because it's summertime, you know, or it's, I guess spring, but we're getting into like the end of school. More people are home. People are kicking on their water because it's finally getting hot. So irrigation's running, a lot more of the plumbing's being used, and we've been nonstop. You know, us, the team, everyone's been putting in extra time just to help people out, from water main leaks to, you know, simple angle stops, like
faucet repairs.
Like we had what Dutch Brothers give us a call. You know, they had a faucet outside that was leaking. So, but with them, it's like where we want to stand out. It's sure, did we really didn't make a lot of money on it, right?
No, but we got the community their coffee.
That's right. And that's what I'm saying. It's like the nice thing is like for us, I feel like what stands out for us, and what we learn is like that job really wasn't an expensive job. Like it was very a minimal job because it really was a hose bib. But whoever built it, they didn't build it wrong. They just didn't put a shut-off valve going to that hose bib, which, you know, is fine. You really don't have to. But like for us in a commercial aspect, right, we kind of want to set them up overkill with some shut-off valves. So we could isolate those one areas. But like we had Dan and Ruben go out, right?
10 p.m.
10 p.m. after they closed. It was either 10 p.m. or what, 4 o'clock in the morning?
2 a.m.
Those guys are up early. But our team was out there at 10 o'clock, 30-minute job, in and out. But they stood up late, you know, because Dan, he got bedtime, you know, so he's in bed by 9, but he has bedtime.
But he'll show up.
He shows up, man. Like you ask him to do something, that guy's there. Like, so he knew like Dutch Brothers, like we do a lot of work for them. So he was like, we'll go take care of him. Like, no big deal. You know, like I'll be there at 10, whatever. It's 30-minute job, in and out. And he was, you know, now they're back up and running. The town got their coffee, you know, they got their fix. My wife's happy. She got her coffee. The kids got their hot cocoa. So it's good. Like I say, our team is always going to go above and beyond to make things happen for our community, whether it's commercial, residential, or whatever. They're there.
We've had plenty of jobs being out at midnight. Like it reminds me of Swig. Outside of customers, Swig too. You were in a hole till 4 a.m.
That's Mo Bettis.
Oh, Mo Bettis. Yeah, Mo Bettis. They're right next to each other.
Yeah.
But same situation. I think that was a 2-day job, and we had to have them shut down for 2 days. At least their drive-through shut down for 2 days.
Yeah, that was brutal.
But it was important for us to get it back up, not just for the customer, but how many people did we turn away at the drive-through while we were waiting to finish what we were doing?
Tomatoes thrown at us, you know, just like, we want our Mo Bettis. But we were there, right? We're out in that hole late at night making it happen. Yep. But yeah, no, we show up. Like our team shows up, and just starting out. Like, we're just starting out. Like, you're pulling your horse trailer to make jobs happen. Like, hey, we had to pull asphalt and we didn't have a dump trailer yet. So it's like, Brad's like,
what's our solution?
Yeah, Brad's like, what's the solution to this? Well, I got a horse trailer that I'm gonna turn into an event. What are you guys doing with it? It's like
a event trailer.
Yeah,
like drink thing. Wife project.
Honey to-do list.
Yep.
Get it done.
Yeah.
But,
outside everything, still have that.
But we find solutions. So it's like, well, to save the customer money, we're not going to go rent this and that. We're just, hey, let's just bring the horse trailer. We'll make it happen. So, I mean, we show up, man. It's a good time.
I think one of the cool things about us too is you see all these companies out there. They have wrap vans to the T, uniforms to the T, everything to the T. And it looks nice, but that cost translates to the customer. The customer is ultimately paying that at the end of the day. Whether it's the uniform or the van side or the marketing side, you could break that down and say, it only translates to 10%. But when you get into the uniforms and you get into their events and you get into all the little things they do to make that company shine and appear the way it does, it ultimately translates to the customer.
It ain't cheap.
No.
We got like 2 shirts per person right now, 2 polos. It is expensive.
And we keep our vans minimal, like in exchange to ultimately take care of our customer at the end of the day.
Yeah, keep costs low. It's like, that's the biggest thing. Is like, would it be nice to have a fully wrapped van? Sure. Would it be nice to have a big office? Sure. But like, we know, like, the longer we could postpone those things, the longer we could keep costs low. I mean, we don't have to go get a massive shop today, right? We could slowly, like, it's just like living life, right? You're slowly going to save towards the things you want. Like, okay, well, I got 5% I could start saving to get us that shop, where it's just like, oh, well, I want a side-by-side. So like I'm going to save $100 per check. So same thing. So it's like, we're slowly going to work into those things, right? But it's not going to be like, oh man, we need a $5,000 a month building. So we got to up our prices 30%, so we can afford all this stuff. Like, we're slowly going to work ourselves into that, where the customers isn't going to feel that burden. It's going to be, we're going to save for it to get there, so.
And a lot of people say, I mean, we get a lot of hate on this, like, oh, then you're just pocketing the extra money. So it goes, but the truth is David lives in a small condo. I live in a small family home. Everything translates to the customer for us. That was a big part of why we started this company, was translating that difference to our customers at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we want to take care of them. I mean, that's the whole purpose of starting this thing. You know what I mean? We could have stayed, and it's not to bash corporate companies. There's some great corporate companies out there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, I've seen some great, some great corporations do a good job. So it's like, it's not to bash them. That's not what we're here to do, right? But sometimes you got the ones that, you got some bad apples out there that are just like, God, let's take everything, like we were talking about. So we want to be different. We saw that happening, and we wanted to step away to really just change that scene here in St. George.
And I think the one thing that people don't realize is they'll come across companies in town that very much advertise that they're family owned, or that they're locally owned, whatever it may be. And where that's changed a lot in the last, like right at the start of COVID, this started changing, because everyone was into service projects, doing things at their home, putting money into their home, making the environment that they were stuck in a lot nicer. And so you had big banks go to plumbing companies, electrical companies, contracting companies, and they would buy them out for massive money. I mean, we know of a few in town that were bought out for well over 8 figures. Yeah. And then now they still have the same figureheads in place, but they're controlled by their bosses in a different state. And so I think the thing that kills me the most in those situations is you had a company where your money stayed in the community. So you spent with them, that company spent in the community. So it translated back to growing the environment here. And now you have a lot of companies in town that are owned by people in different states. So your money is leaving, it's not even staying in the state anymore. It leaves the community, leaves the state, and it lines someone else's pocket.
Yep. Shop local, baby.
Yeah.
Like that's the biggest thing, is like, people forget that, right? And it's, no one's going to advertise, hey, we're a big corporation, but as a homeowner, you got to do your footwork. You got to do your homework and see who you're having out. Like, I know sometimes you have these emergencies. It's like, man, we need someone here right now, So it's like, well, they're at the top. They got so many reviews, blah, 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 blah. Well, they were a mom and pop shop before. Now they're corporate owned. So I mean, do your homework, you know, and it's not even the guys that work there, right? Like
we love the guys that work there, and this is nothing
like,
on them.
Like all the guys are amazing because they're there to feed their family. They're plumbers, you know, like these guys, they're plumbers, they're in the trades, they're there to feed their family, and that's it. And so they can only do as much as they're allowed to do, right? So it's not none of their fault. Like the guys are great, but they have someone to answer to, right?
Yeah.
So they're answering to based off their price book and based off of what their company's pushing. And so
sales goals,
and
not customer help, sales goals.
Yeah, sales goals, not customer help goals. But it's just like push. And so like I said, the guys are amazing. Like most plumbers are, most trade guys are great guys. You know, they're just hardworking men, women that are out there just trying to feed families. But like I say, they're only able to do as much as they're allowed to do. So it's crazy. Like I say, that's why we're trying to get back into this, like customers first, you know, customer over profits, you know, big saying that we got. So
we win our customers, not their pockets.
That's right, baby. I love it, you know? So, I mean, yeah, I think we're getting there. A lot of people are starting to notice that, you know, we're getting more and more people calling. You see it on Nextdoor, on Google, like wherever you're looking, like people are talking about us, you know? And so we're starting to get our foot in the door more here, which is great. Because that's what we want. We want people to know us. We want people to give us that opportunity so we can take care of them and show them that difference of like, man, we're willing to work with you. If you're a 90-year-old lady or man, and we get it. Like you're on a fixed income that the government is not taking care of you. Like we know that, you know? So it's like my grandparents are in the same boat. I got family in the same boat. So it's like, we want to be able to help you. Like sometimes like we've done jobs for just break even.
Yep.
We've taken jobs where we've lost money, but we help that little old grandma, you know?
Or we find a middle solution. There's always a solution to everything.
Yep. There's a will, there's a way. Yeah. You know, we'll find it. So it's that, man. We just want to take care of people at the end of the day. That's the end goal. Like the money will come. I've always preached that, you know, to my team and to people around me. The money will come. Like it may be hard to get it, but it will show up, you know? Like I've always thought, do good will come, right? Karma. Like honestly, what goes around comes around. So you treat people right, do things right, like it will always come. And for me, it's worked. Like I've never gone out there and been like, you're 98, like you need a tankless water heater today. Like, you know, it's like
single lady living at home. Yeah.
Showers once every 2 weeks, you know, and I'm like, you need this really expensive tankless. It's like, no, that don't make sense for her. Right. You know what I mean? I'm not going to push you on something that does not make sense. So it's like for you, I'm like, well, how often do you use it? You know, like let's get you something that's going to benefit you and work in your favor and show them all the options of what's easy. Like tanklesses are amazing. Yeah. You know, I love them. I think everyone should have them, but it don't make sense for a lot of people. Like if you got a massive family, you got 20 kids and, you know, 5 baby mamas, and maybe you need a tankless. Like maybe you need a lot of hot water. So a tankless gonna keep up with it, you know, endless hot water. But that's the biggest thing is like we're gonna push the right things that people need. Not sure, it's more, like I said, it's more money, but we don't want it. We want to do what suits you, you know, and your specific needs. So yeah.
Going back to what you were talking about, I'll just call it hate in the trades, where, you know, there's going to be competitiveness in our field, of course. I mean, that's
it's
natural
healthy.
For business. Yeah, you need it.
It's healthy.
But the hate in the trades right now it's absolutely crazy. I mean, the power people in this town give us and the things they think we can do is just wild to me. But for us, it's being cohesive. I mean, we work with how many different tradespeople, and how important are those tradespeople to us? And even along with that, the plumbers in the community too, the plumbers, HVAC guys, electricians. I mean, we would love to have those guys be right with us on our side, but we find out more often than not, they're not.
We get burned in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really at the end of the day, like we talked about earlier with some of our past guys, really still working with us. We may not work with that company, but they work with us.
Yeah.
And we're trying to build a community. Like we talk about community all the time. It's community within a community, because if we can't take care of something, we want to make sure the customer has the right person to take care of them.
Right. Well, and like you say, there's no way in the world right? I'm gonna plumb everything. I could get to every call in the world. Like there's just not, right? And that's for every trade out there. It's just there's not that. And there used to be, you look back, and not even that long ago is the craziest thing. Like you could look back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever, where you had tradesmen that are like the plumbing, right? I speak on plumbing a lot, obviously, because I'm a plumber, so I'm gonna speak on it. But like in the trades too, where it's like you had plumbing brothers, you had people you reached out to, like, hey man, if I can't get to this call, right? Like we still have that. There's certain plumbing companies here. Shout out Patriot Plumbing, but like
thank you, Jason, for all you do.
Like Jason's awesome, right? He's still an honest dude. Like that guy, he's a master plumber, but he's an honest dude. And so it's like, we know if we're going to refer him work, right? If we get to a position where it's like, man, we cannot take another call today. And these guys are an emergency. Hey, hit up Jason. Like, I know me referring him, he's going to take care of you the way I would take care of you, right? So it's like, why don't you give him a call? Here's his contact. And I promise you, he'll come do just as great of work as we're going to do, right? So, it's the same thing. It's like, we want to build that, right? But you're starting to see that's super hard to build. I don't know if it's just here or it's at where it's like, what'd you say? There's like
117 licenses, at least the last time I checked, in this small area. Just
in southern Utah, like St. George, Cedar, whatever. But like people, you're not seeing a lot of people wanting to have that brotherhood anymore, right? And it sucks because a lot of people preach it. Like we preach it big time. Like I want to be able to like call up my old manager, and be like, hey man, like I'm running into this situation. You have 35 years on me. Like, like, have you seen this before? And him be like, hey man, let me just swing by and like see what you're looking at. We want to be able to offer that, but we would also love to see that. But you're just not seeing that around anymore. People are so like, if it's not us, it's nobody. Like, if we can't have every call, we're not going to refer anybody. Let them burn.
Good luck,
like, and I don't know where we went wrong. It's like as humans, right? We just lost that. But it's like for us, like we know we can't take care of everyone, right? So it's like we want to build up that brotherhood again. And I think that's what we're searching for. Like there's other companies too that we're slowly working with. We have companies in California that we talk to a lot, but also here, like there's still people we're always in the field with and starting to build things up. So hopefully soon we could see that brotherhood at least start to come back to this town, right?
Yeah, well, you say where it went wrong, and I think where it's gone wrong is you go an apprentice for somebody for 4 years, and that person, you're essentially as an apprentice, you're a cost to them, right?
Yeah.
You're not making money for them. And so this person gives you 2 to 4 years, whatever it is. And then now that you've gotten your licenses or you can stand on your own 2 feet, a lot of people look for that grass is greener on the other side rather than remaining loyal. So now you're in a place where you have businesses that are afraid to take on apprentices because they just see it as an expense. So it's really this diminishing field outside of the baby boomers that are selling. I mean, there's plumbing businesses every day that are going up for sale, which means that's one less person to take care of an area, which is less of a big deal here more than it is, in bigger towns.
Yeah.
But still it becomes this, it's almost like a dog eat dog world where, okay, I'm just going to train this guy to push him out to go and be my competitor, where like we share the same view with as we move into the future. We know we're going to run into this situation, but our view, and we've talked about this many times, is okay, if you're going to do that, great. We support you, but let us help you, whether it's being an investor, whether it's helping you with marketing, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we did build that guy up and our hope would be to get it back in some way, whether it's 2 years of work out of them, 3 years of work out of them, whether it's investing in them so they could start their own thing and we get something back that way. But I think that's one of those little missing pieces that you're talking about. You don't know where we went wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's the greed side of things of where we went wrong.
People are greedy. It really is. It's a weird thing, right? Because like you say, we talk about it so often. Like, man, I hope we bring on guys that are like, man, I want to go start my own plumbing business. Man, I hope so. I hope you enjoyed it here enough to really want to go do that.
Yeah.
You're going to find great guys like, it's bound to happen. You know what I mean? So like, man, I want that for you. Like, and that's the thing too, what we're trying to start here is like, I want to know your wife. I want to know your kids. Like you work for me. We work together. This is a team thing. Like without you, there is no this. Without me, there is no this type thing, So it's like, we're a team. Like we're really big on, hey man, we go golfing with these guys. So, the guys that we work together with in our company, but we're not around like, I'm your boss. Like, I own you. Like, this ain't slavery days, like we are a team just trying to grow something. Like I want our team to be able to feed their family. I'd love to see them, build their dream home, to have all the things,
hit all the goals that they're trying to hit in life
while working for someone, or being like, well, I want a little bit more, right? Because there is steps to business, right? But if they want a little bit more, like, hey, well, I can invest in you and give you the money you need to start up, show you the do's and the don'ts, So we just need to get back to that. Everyone looking out for each other again.
Which is probably more important here than anywhere else. Like our next location, we're opening in Salt Lake literally in 3 days. I mean, it's going to be an entirely different venture. We're going from a few 100,000 people to millions of people. And I think bringing what we're doing here to a place like that's going to be positive, not only for our industry and other trades, but for the community in general.
Yeah, just because, just looking at it out there, right? You're going to have businesses, obviously, that even mom and pop shops that have grown into big companies and have crazy overhead. You're just going to run into it, and there's nothing wrong with that. That means they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. But you also have a lot of people, like we talk about, greed is a crazy thing out here where everyone's they want money. And it's like, yeah, sure, money makes the world go around, but you could be, I've been dead broke and happy as I could be. You know what I mean? I've had a little bit of money. I've made my 6 figures. I broke 100,000, like my third year of plumbing or something like that. I broke $100,000. But I didn't feel rich, not in this economy, and like I felt like I didn't see my family as much, because it was just like driving, like just trying to make something of myself. And but you got to find that happy medium where it's like there's that work balance and life balance, that's, I'm still looking for it, so help me out here a little bit, but we're trying to find it. But like I say, there's a happy medium to it all. And yeah, I don't know.
So where are we going in Salt Lake? What's our plans there?
Plum America, baby. I don't know.
First stop, Salt Lake.
Yeah, no, we're going to be American Fork. Yeah, so that's where we're going. We're going to be going to American Fork, and a 30-mile radius, and so forth. Obviously, like being in St. George, we drive to Enterprise, which is 45 miles, 50 miles, whatever.
Apple Valley, City, yeah.
Like
Kayenta, yeah.
Zion.
Yeah, we always,
of them. We're everywhere. So it's like, even out there, like we're going to be everywhere. American Fork's going to be our starting point, because we feel like that's the best location for what they need. And obviously just what we're trying to build. We want to take the same thing we'd like to see throughout the state of Utah. We want to take our beliefs and put it elsewhere as well. Even though St. George is like our community, like this is where we're at. This is home for us. We would still like to be able to go grow the same thing somewhere else, and that be American Fork, Salt Lake County, Davis County, whatever. So we would love to see it out there and grow that up, bring on the right people there to help grow the same thing and start making this happen throughout states. Utah, obviously, the primary focus for us. Like, we want to grow this because this is home. State of Utah is our home. So we want to grow it and be able to see the people out there, the community out there, get the same services we could provide here for, a fair price. Same thing, have good people looking out for them, that if their kids play soccer or baseball together, man, they're like, they're wanting to call you. That's the last thing you want, is like your kids play sports with someone and they're like, oh, you're a plumber? Well, I got this and that. Yeah, it's going to cost you $25,000. And they're like, yeah, I don't want to use you. Yeah. Tell their kid, don't hang out with that kid. Dad's a ripoff. We don't want that. Like, we want to be able for it to be like, hey man, come over, build great bonds throughout this state. So same thing up there, American Fork, Provo, Salt Lake, all those places. We're coming. We're going to bring the heat.
Like you said, we don't want to be those people that overcharge and do things. How many times do you think you've gone out there and done things just for free for the sake of the customer?
Too many times. But it's a good thing. We do. Sometimes I do it a lot. Don't hold me to this, because those people are going to be like, hey, I heard you do things for free. No, the people that need it, man, to the people that really need it and are down bad, we've all been down bad, I got family out there that, have jumped house to house. I have been homeless. Like, my wife has lived in a car, like when she was growing up as a kid, like I've seen it. I know what it is. You know, I've watched my mom and dad fill fridges for family, you know, like them not have it. And my dad, you know, my dad had a good job, worked at the refinery. Like he did well. My mom, same thing. Like they did well for themselves in Los Angeles, you know, like that's a hard place to make it. And they had honest jobs, you know. Like I said, dad worked in the refinery, didn't seem a lot. Man worked all the overtime to make sure like we had what we wanted. You know, my mom always took us everywhere we wanted to go. And she made decent money. But she was always around, you know, and my dad, I mean, he was when he could be, but it's like me, man. And it's like, it's that cicados in us. It's that blood we got, you know, we're hard workers, man. Like we want our kids to have a life we didn't get to have. And not because of our parents' faults, you know, it's like they did it, but we want to one step up, right? That's, you're trying to build generational wealth and growth and all this good stuff. So same thing, like my dad, he used to always call it the money train, right? Because the train would come in and at the refinery and he'd be like, oh, I'm working this weekend. I'm like, oh, like, why are you working this weekend? He's like, money train's here, baby. Like, I'm gonna go get it. But we had the PS4 or all the consoles, everything we wanted, right? So same thing here. We're just trying to build for our kids to get the same thing, and give them one step ahead. So,
you know, I think one of my favorite sayings is, and you were just touching on this a little bit, like with the free work and everything, is that the health of a nation, you can tell the health of a nation based on their plumbing. The same things from the community. And I didn't understand this until I got into plumbing and the trades, because a lot of people look at plumbers and, oh, there's just a cran eater. There's a guy that doesn't know anything, right? He picked the bottom of the barrel opportunity to make money. But the reality is everybody's health relies so much on plumbing, HVAC, your air quality, your water quality.
Yeah.
The one crazy thing that I just learned about this too is, out of all the trades, the plumbing is the one thing that, if it's not right, can kill you.
Yeah.
HVAC, sure, you know, over time, pour air, pour other things. Electrical, you could have a fire. But your plumbing, if your water supply is bad or your septic supply is bad, now you're affecting that, not only the health of your household, but the health of the community, the health of the neighborhood, the health of everything else. And so I feel like what we do is pretty important.
It is. And I mean, you ever been on a field trip, right? You're on a school bus and you got your teachers and stuff. They're like, you see a guy, a city worker working out there. That's why you guys go to school. You're going to end up like those guys, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's crazy, you know? I'm like, we like degrade like blue collar, like the workforce, but man, they build America day in and day out. They build America. And so it's hard to like sit there and just like bash on them, right? Like that's what I've seen, like, and just being alive, like you see it, you hear it, social media, you hear it, like, you don't want to be digging holes and doing this, but man, without them, it's just like, without a doctor, how are you going to get a heart surgery or, you know, all the health needs you need. Same thing for the trades. Like, man, okay, you have a sewer break and the last plumber put the water main right on top of it. Like, right. You can't put your sewage and your water in the same trench right on top of each other. There has to be separation in it. So with that, say you had a pinhole leak in your water and your sewage broke and somehow that sewage waste got into your potable water. Now you're drinking sewage water and you don't know it, right? So the health of the nation like lies in plumbers, but people don't realize that, right? Water comes from great sky gods. Like, you know what I mean? Like the people just like, I don't know, turn on my tap and I got water. Flush the toilet and it goes. Like people just don't think about it. It is crazy to me. But I mean, I don't blame anyone. I was in the same boat before I became a plumber. Absolutely. You know what I mean? I was just like, I don't know. Like
my water shows up, my toilet flushes.
Yeah, my lights turn on.
If it's a problem, my dad fixes it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know how this stuff works. But now you start to learn it. But I think every homeowner should learn it to an extent, right? Not sure. There's some things you could do as yourself. Like you could change a flapper ball. You're in and out. Like it's really easy. But like know the basics. Know where your water shutoff is. Like your electrical. Know where your breaker shutoff is. Like even your HVAC has a breaker kill switch. You know what I mean? Like I don't know why I can't think of the name of it right now. But like if something's going wrong, you should be able to know how to take care of the basics, right? How to shut things down, like gas, like turn off the gas. Like you should know how to take care of those things so you don't blow up your house. You know, like if you smell a gas leak, you like instead of having to wait for someone to come, but like, hey, I shut it off. Like I shut the gas off, I shut the water off, so you don't have to rush here. But like when you get here, like you know, I stop the flooding from happening or whatever, and allow the professionals to come in and take care of it. So
Yeah, save their investment.
yeah, save it as fast as possible, right? So instead of like, oh, I don't know, to shut my water off, and well, I'm an hour away from you. You live in Enterprise. I'm in St. George. Like, I'm going to be an hour to you. Well, my house is flooding. I show up and you got 5 feet of water. You know, like, know where your shut off is. Like, there's basic. Like,
there's been plenty of phone calls where we're trying to walk customers through that.
You know what is cool about like where we are now, right? Like, I hate social media, I think, as much as the next person. It has its benefits, but it sure has a lot worse than that. But with this, like, we could FaceTime people now, you know, like, you know how many times
That's one of our perks.
Yeah, like, you know how many times we FaceTime people, they're like, oh, I don't know how to shut it off, and like my ceiling is falling in, you know, the drywall, and you're like, well, FaceTime me, like, let me walk you through it. And they're running around, I'm like, right there's your shut off, shut it down, and water comes, like, it just like empties. I'm like, all right, cool, I'll be there in 30, you know, and like, we'll take care of it. Here's a mitigation company number, like, get them out there to start, you know, drying this stuff up. Like, so gotta know your basics, you know, basics of it.
I think one of the cool things too about us is the free education we offer to each customer.
Yeah.
Whether they want it or not, I think one of our benefit adds that, especially our team, so good, like Dan's great with it. Mike will stand there for 2 hours talking your ear off, and he'll show you everything in your home. You're good at this too, is showing customers maybe something they didn't know before, like for a flood situation or a fire situation or an air situation.
Yeah. It should be like, this isn't big secret, you know?
Yeah.
You know,
seems like it.
We're not keeping the cure of cancer away from you, you know, like this is, if you want it, I'll give it to you for free. Like, it don't cost me nothing. You know, if you got questions, like, you know how many times I've had, just because I've either ran into them or they called us or whatever, but they had a different plumber come out and they just felt like they couldn't get the information. So they call us, and they still having the other plumber do the work for them, right? But I'm like, oh, well, just make sure like they do this, they do that. Like, I'm not hiding nothing. Like, you should know these things, right? And if you, like, my life's open book. You got questions, I'm going to give it to you. You know, like, I'll try to help you out as much as possible, because those guys are a great guy too doing the plumbing, but he just may, you know, we're trades. There's your new construction and your service guys should be a little bit more bubbly, right? We're in people's homes, like a lot of stay-at-home moms nowadays, a lot of, you know, people that are afraid to allow strangers, you know, like, we're strangers at the end of the day to these people, and we're just like, hey, open up your door so I can fix your plumbing and hope for the best.
Let me come in and walk around.
Yeah, and look at all your stuff you got in your house, you know, like, it's a weird thing, you know, like, there's times my wife is at home and she's like, oh, you know, I got someone knocking on my door, like, and
yeah, how many times do you want to be home when she's home alone?
Yeah, it's right. Like, it's hard because you're like, you know, I got rings, so it's like someone rings the doorbell, and I'm like, hey, like, who's this man, you know, at my house, you know, like, as a father, as a husband, like, you worry about them, so it's like, we really are strangers walking into someone's house. So you get service guys that are a little bit more bubbly, more friendly, that they should be, but you also have like new construction guys, you know, that are just like tough to the bone,
very cold,
you know, like, just quiet. But like, new construction guys you're getting a lot of them when new construction dies down, they're going service, because service doesn't, like, sure, it has its highs and its lows, right? But things always break. Like, new construction, you're not always building a home, right? So like, with that, you're gonna get some, you know, biker dudes at your house sometimes. Like, sometimes you get that, and it's like, they're not very sharing. They're just like, I'll fix it. Like, I know how to fix this. It's plumbing. I know I've done this my whole life. I know how to do this. They're not going to share a lot of information. So like you said, we're very open to it, because there's nothing to hide. You could go on YouTube and find any information really you want to find. I wouldn't believe everything, but you know, all this stuff is at your fingertips to access. So it's like, why not me be the one, at least a professional you could talk to on the phone, give you information you want.
Yeah, it's like that FaceTime quote, or like you said, video call quote. We're more than happy to do a FaceTime quote with you. Whatever's going to make the customer happy and comfortable at the end of the day is what's important to us.
Yeah, 100%.
Outside of plumbing and everything that we're doing, and we talked about community a lot on this. I think one of the things that should be important for a service-based company is to give back to the community. They're giving so much to us. let's give back to them in a way. Like I do Rotary. We've donated to the Special Olympics. We give our time. I did a cleanup in Hurricane. And as a company and as we grow in this community, it's going to be how we give back more. So if any of you guys are watching this and you have some ideas, send it our way. But our plan this year is to give back by doing a pretty big cleanup in the area. And we'll talk about on it more later as we finalize details. But I think one of the differences you'll find with us is our willingness to invest into the community.
Yeah.
Not just with money, but time. And the difference between, I think, our team and a lot of other teams is the willingness of the team to want to do that.
Yeah. And that's a big part too, right? We had that. Like we used to have that. We had a great team. Like, and I think that's what like kills me some days. And it's like why we're trying to build the same thing. Like we had with the team, we had great guys that like when I started this, like when I started plumbing, right? You had people like I'd be out there at 10 o'clock at night digging out because I was on call. So 24/7.
You're always in a hole.
Digging a hole. Like if you know David, I'm in a hole, digging a hole somewhere. Right? It's horrible. But I was just out there 10 o'clock at night. And Dan, like we brought Dan on with us too, like when we were starting out. So we got him, but like Dan, we had a couple other guys. I don't know if they want me to name them, but they're out there. They know who they are. They would show up, man. They'd be like, they call me, hey, Dave, I see, like they can see my calls. They're like, I see you out here. Like, what are you doing? Need help? No, man, I'm good. I'm just digging a water main at 10 o'clock at night. And they could see my location based off of the job, the job board that we had. And they're like, okay. All of a sudden I see headlights pull up and it's my team, like they're there. And it's like, that's what you want, man. Like you want people to show up for you. And like, it's like, no, dude, like enjoy your family. I would always tell them like, why didn't you call? You dig your 4 feet in the ground right now. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, dude, you got family. Like enjoy your family. Like we all got our rotation. You know what I mean? Like we're all 24/7. So like, spend time with your kids. Nah, man, like it's raining today. Like you need help. But it's, we used to have that. So, I mean, it's like you said, like we left, 13 people left. Like it was instant, right?
Immediate,
Within 2 months, 3 months or
Mm-hmm.
something. It was like instant. Like you look back and you're like, man, I don't know any of those guys over there now. All those guys are everywhere else, which is great. But it's like, that's what we want to build, right? That's what I think everyone should want to build. Like I want to see every plumbing company, every trade company here doing the same thing and growing the same type of team because, I mean, work, right? We see each other, our coworkers more than we see our own family. So it's like, we want this to be enjoyable to as much as it can be, right? It's our careers. So it's like, we want it to be enjoyable, enjoy who we work with. So you got to build that team bond, go do things, go do fun things with each other. And cause it's like, man, trust me, if you're upset, I don't want to be here with you. Like, man, you go work on your own. I'm gonna go work over here. It's like a bad marriage.
Yeah.
Oh, but no, I think we're working towards it, getting it back. And in time we will have that back. And I hope that companies around, follow suit and like start building the same thing with their teams and don't let greed get the better of them. Really, at the end of the day, it's important. So,
where do you see us in the next 6 months here in St. George specifically?
Probably digging a hole if you see me. Next 6 months, I'll be in another hole. Oh, man, no, like hopefully in the next 6 months, right? We just started our electrical division.
Irving's awesome.
We got Irving, just got him his trailer. So we're doing things a little bit different with him. His is cool. Like we just picked him up a trailer. But Irving's a team player, man. Like obviously we're starting out, so we're not ballers. Like we don't got money. We're all the money we make goes right back into the company. The partners, like we don't take a lot from it. We make enough to pay our bills and like get to the next day, get to the next paycheck. But like with Irving, he came in knowing that, and he was happy.
That's what he was looking for.
Yeah.
As a tradesman, that's what he was looking for. And I think that's what's crazy too about the trades is these guys go into some of these big companies and they're sold on the dollar sign, but they forget why they came into it.
Yeah, you get lost in the sauce, baby. You get lost in the sauce. Like, it's hard. Like you start seeing all this good money because like you charge top dollar and like you're making out good, but then you start making the money, and if you're a decent human being, it hits you where you're like, man, sure, I made really great money, but like, can I lay my head down at night? You know what I mean? And
are they gonna call us again? Yeah.
Yeah, like I say, like you milk a cow, they're gonna keep calling you because you're not hurting them, right? You're taking care of them. You're slowly doing little jobs here and there for them. You're taking care of the customer. Where instead you're like, like I was saying, like you need to do $40,000 worth of work. Do they need it? Maybe, but most of the time, not really.
What can they get by with?
You know, not every job's a $40,000 job. Like there's a lot of jobs we do $200 jobs, just little piddly stuff, you know. But that's life of a plumber. We're there to help them out. Like if everything looks great in your house, I'm gonna be like, man, your house is top notch shape. Like you looking good, you keeping up on your softener. Like things are looking great. But yeah, it's just a lot of people like Irving. Like he knew coming on, he was taking a gamble, right? He's taking a gamble because like
still is.
I'm not an electrician. You're not an electrician. I don't touch electrical, man. I'll kill myself under there. You know, I don't know how that stuff works. I'm not the one for it. But Irving, full faith in that man. Like, you know, like he is awesome. He knows his stuff. I'll get dazed by his words. Like, I was like, what are you talking about, man? But he knows what he's doing. But like him coming on, like I was saying, that dude's a team player, and that's what we're building here. He knew, hey, I'm taking a gamble with you, but I'm coming in. I have a truck. Don't buy a truck. Like, don't buy another vehicle for me. Like, I'm willing to sacrifice too to help this grow. Cause like he knows where we're at. Like we're not ballers. Like I said, we don't got all this kind of money. So he's like, I'm gonna use my truck. And then he was like, oh, I'm gonna go buy a trailer. And we're like, let us buy you a trailer at least, right? Let us take care of that portion for you, you know? So I picked him up a trailer, but we're starting that electrical division. So hopefully in 6 months, our electrical, right? Because we just started that. Our plumbing is going and I think in the route that we want it to go, right?
Plumbing, HVAC starting to move there.
HVAC starting to move there. Like plumbing is doing what we want it to do. And hopefully in the next 6 months, with how many calls we're starting to receive, like we have an additional plumber or two with an additional helper.
Yeah, we want to keep that same day service that we're offering.
Yeah.
Immediate show up.
Yeah, that's
no extra fees, no gimmicks. Let's just get out there and help you.
Yeah, we don't got the call out fee or the cancellation fees or, you know, all this crazy stuff. It's just like we want to be able to show up and you get that top-notch service same day, right? So I would love to see, obviously, like we have a couple more plumbers in the next 6 months to be where like we keep that, our HVAC, but I would love to see Irving get to a point where he's like, hey man, I'm just doing real good. You know, I need 2 more guys. Like,
right.
That's what I would love to see. I would love to just see us continue to grow. So,
I think it means we're helping more people at that point.
Yeah. And the more and more people see us, like we really haven't had a bad review. You know, we had 1 4-star and it was by a cleaning lady.
Wasn't even the customer.
She wasn't even the customer. She was just like, hey, we're like, all right, well, we're done. We're going to get a hold of the homeowner. And she's like, okay, cool. She gave us a 4-star rating. I was like, we didn't even talk to you. You know, she was just there sweeping the floor. But hey, you know, like it happens.
That's
okay.
It
was, I just thought that was so funny because every customer we dealt with, 5-star, 5-star. And then this one, I was like, you know, Dan and them went out. He's like, Dan's like, we didn't do nothing. Like, you know, we
gave him some advice or
yeah,
it was something little.
She's like 4-star. It's like, okay, hey, we'll take it, I guess, you know. But everyone we've done work for has seemed to be super happy, and like the word of mouth is crazy right now. You know, everyone's just like, use these guys, use Dino. Like everyone knows, like you were saying, man, like. I don't know. People think we're godly or over here, like we just move mountains, and some of the things like,
or that we're in people's pockets, or I mean, it's wild. They think that we got people out there riding for us, and I just thinking about that's crazy, just because of how we operate, how we charge people. Like we obviously shoestrap this to get it where it is, and so there's no reason for anyone to do anything extra for us.
Yeah, it's just crazy because it's like, man, like. How many people have we reached out to and been like, dude, let's make a team, you know, like you're your company, we're our company, but like, let's make a pact, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's going good. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, these guys, this and that. And we're like, what are you talking about? Like, and no one calls us. It's like, bro, we were like so tight and like, you just disappeared overnight. Like we're like
the florist told us about it.
Yeah. Like what happened? You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's crazy, you know, like we had a job where, you know, property management company called us out, and like the next day it was like, oh, you stole that job from us. I mean, what? We didn't even know you were in this area. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, when were you out here? You know, but it's crazy because like you say, it's like, you got so much hate out here when we're trying to, I feel like we're just trying to build teams, and I'm like, man, like, I'm not stealing anything. I just want to help everyone and like help you grow something too at the same time. Cause like we give advice to other businesses like, hey, this is what works for us. Like try this and this and that. And they do. And they're like, oh man, cool. Like this is starting to work
for free on our own time.
Yeah, for free. It's just like, because I want to see everyone winning. Like, I want to see all these plumbers make money. And it's like I said, we can't get to everything. So if we could give even business owners, our competitors, right? Because healthy competition is great. It keeps everyone moving. That's how we keep growing our plumbing knowledge and growing our all the advancements that we make in the plumbing field and the trades. Like, it's based off of competition, right? Like, healthy competition. Like, I want to see if I can.
Let's do this too.
Yeah, let's see if we get a little bit better. And it's just like, now it's a healthy competition, right? Everyone's going back and forth and just growing this thing. So, I mean, hopefully soon, everyone could just calm back down. Let's take a deep breath, and just start building this back up. Because, man, that's all I want to see. I want to see all the trades over here start doing the same thing, getting back to our roots of who we are as people, and stop really just don't lose that. We're losing it so fast, and it's like, I just want to grab it and bring it back in. Like, hey, man, let's just show up for each other again. Let's be friends. Like, let's all go be able to golf together. Different companies, right? Competitors all go golfing together and just come together.
We do it well, what's crazy is we do it every year with the different events, and everybody in that moment's really cool, and then they all go their separate ways, and it's like, they all have their things to say in the background.
Like, we're high school again, man. This stuff's crazy. But I mean, right? I'm 25. I'll be 26 this year, and that's the hardest thing I've dealt with in life, is that high school mentality of things. Right? It's like, man, I had me and my wife now. That's my baby mama. She was my baby mama. We got pregnant in high school. I was 7 days after my 18th birthday. We had our first boy. And so it's like, to grow up had to happen like overnight, right? It was like, all right, no more time for games, like time to go work. And like, I went through it trying to figure it out. Me and the wife, like, we're just, how can we get here? So like I say, for the high school thing, it bothers me because like I felt as though I had to grow up so fast, and so many other people too. You know what I mean? I wasn't in my high school. I was not the only one to be having a kid in high school. So it's like, so many of us are dealt a hand, which people were dealt worse ones. So I'm not complaining, but we're dealt a hand where it's like, man, we got to grow up and get out of this mentality of like all these little cliques and this and that to get to, be a great father, great parents. And so it's like, even now we got people, in their 30s, 40s, so forth, that it's like, we're still stuck in those high school areas. There's these cliques, there's the jocks, there's the nerds, and there's this and that, So it's like, that stuff's always bothered me, because I'm like, I've never been that way. My parents brought me up really well, I felt. So it's like, my dad's always been, like I said, karma, do good, good will come. So it's always like, how can we help people, help different plumbers? Like, man, it's never a competition. If your company's doing better than my company, man, all I want to do is learn from you. Like, I'm gonna touch base with you. I want you to be my mentor. Like, hey man, like, how'd you get here? Like, I want to get there too. But we're not finding that a lot. Like I said, it's one of those things that just bothers me. So,
well, I think it's up to us to change it. I think too, just in closing this, like you said, on the 6 months, I'll throw this little tag in there: quality service that never goes extinct.
Yes, sir.
We live by that.
Yeah, 100%.
On a daily basis. So
100%. So
really, at the end of the day, we're just looking to take care of everybody. If you see this, check us out on social media. Check out our website, dinoservicepros.com. You can text us at 435-236-4568. You can message us personally. We'll be there to help you.
Yeah, 100%. Also, drop any questions, any things you guys like to hear next time.